Good morning. Today we are going to be building an incredible 20-foot pondless waterfall in this backyard. This is going to be a really cool waterfall. We're going to be incorporating some nice drops, but also a nice stream area. We have our pondless waterfall basin going into this area here. We're going to look to create a waterfall that's going to come here and be viewed from this patio area. And then we're going to have a stream that comes up this way into some waterfalls here. You can see here that this is a hangout zone, nice fire pit. We got these windows here, so we're looking to capture views from all of these points. We're going to create a nice berm, and then we're going to have that berm take a drop and then a nice stream down this way, and we'll create one more drop coming back down into here.
Hey, it's Mike from Oasis Water Gardens. From backyard ponds to breathtaking waterfalls, I'll show you the art of bringing natural beauty right to your home.
We'll be bringing all our materials in this gate here. Unfortunately, that's not going to be big enough for our delivery truck to get through, so we're going to have to stage all the boulders here, and then we'll be strapping and rolling those into this area. Now, with a tight space like this, it's really important for us to keep the stages in mind here. We don't want to stack up any of our excavated dirt or boulders to be blocking our machine access. The berm that we're going to be creating in this area is going to actually have to be pushed a little bit further back until we're ready to build it, and then we can push all the materials back here to set that berm up. Setting up some of our plywood boards, that way we can turn on the grass without leaving any marks. All right, we got the basin marked out with our paint now. We're gonna go ahead, start digging this. We're gonna stage our dirt over behind the machine.
So right here, we're starting to dig out the basin for this pondless waterfall. You can see we're dumping all that dirt into the wheelbarrow, and then we're pushing that all the way back towards those trees. This is because if we created that berm where we're going to need it later, we wouldn't be able to drive the excavator around.
All right, let's go through some of the materials that we're using for this build. We got our 7 large aqua blocks here. We got 50 foot of 2-inch flex pipe. We got the SLD 4-7 pump. We got our installation kit, which has got some silicone and glue. We have 6 3-watt LED lights. This is actually the pondless volt. In here, we have some more lights. We have our foam gun, some lighting connectors, and then under here we have the waterfall spillway, which is going to diffuse the water at the top of the waterfall.
While we're digging the rest of this basin here, we got a couple of the guys going and starting to build those 7 large aqua blocks. Once the basin is excavated, we're going to throw those aqua blocks, figure out the best configuration for them, and make sure they're all fitting in the hole properly.
You can see these are the large aqua blocks right here. They are made of a bunch of different panels, which just simply get hit together with the rubber mallet. We're gonna have 7 of those are going to go down in here. It looks like I probably have to shave off a little more here to straighten this basin out. Depth looks pretty good, so we'll get all of those in, and then the pump vault goes in there. Once we have that stuff dry fit, we'll be ready to start getting the liner and underlayment in.
When designing a basin size for any pondless waterfall, there's going to be a few things that we want to consider. The first thing that we want to think about is the water in motion. So how much water is actually going to be moving through this waterfall and stream from the pumps at any one time. The greater the amount of water in motion, the larger that we're going to want that basin. I typically like to go as large as we can. That budget will allow for a basin because that's going to mean less maintenance later and less adding water in the future.
All right, we are almost finished with the basin and the plumbing line trenched. We're about to get our aqua blocks in, our liner and geotextile in. You can see we have the hole here for that pump vault so that it sits at the lowest point in the basin. We got the rest of this basin over here, and then we got the trench line coming over here. That's gonna go to the top of the waterfall way down there.
All right, we're just gonna go around. We're gonna cut any roots that we see here. We're gonna make sure that those aqua blocks are fitting perfectly, that the pump vault is level and is looking good. And then we're going to come in with that underlayment, that geotextile underlayment, and our 45 mil EPDM liner that's going to go on top of that. And then one more layer of the geotextile for extra protection.
We got our liner and underlayment in. Now we're going around and locking in the aqua blocks with some of our 5 to 8 Delaware Riverstone. Here we're filling any voids with this Riverstone. We're going to lock it in all the way around, and that's going to make sure that we have a really stable base for these aqua blocks.
The aqua blocks are actually pretty amazing this way. When they're backfilled correctly, they actually can support thousands and thousands of pounds of boulders on top of them.
We're going to start running some of our bigger boulders to set basin waterfalls, and we also are going to start running some of our smaller Riverstone, finish backfilling the basin here. It looks like there's a storm coming, so we're going to see if we can get some of this done before the rain starts coming down.
You can see us getting the tarps down and getting ready for the storm on our excavated dirt. And then we're finishing up locking in those aqua blocks. We're taking some of the 3/4 Delaware Riverstone to lock in all that stuff underneath.
We recessed this basin about 10 inches into the ground. You can see right here off of grade, we got this level, we're about 10 inches down. And the reason we wanted to do this is because we're gonna be setting some bigger boulders for a waterfall from this basin. And if we didn't recess that into the ground, then those boulders were gonna stick up too much and it was gonna look a little bit unnatural. So this way we'll be able to get a nice 8 to 10 inch drop here into the basin, right alongside this patio right here.
So since we could not get the delivery truck to bring our boulders right by the waterfall where we need it, we're actually moving all of those right now. You can see we're sort of playing Tetris with this fence, bringing those boulders between the two openings, putting them in the ball carts, and then we're rolling them down into the place that we need them. From there, we're actually starting to set those first couple boulders in the waterfall area. We're going to step back and look from all those key viewpoints, and we're going to make sure the angles are perfect on all of these boulders.
We've gotten this question a few times, which is how do we strap these boulders up to set them? So we're gonna do a little video right now going over how to strap up a boulder. All right, we're gonna be using this boulder as our example. So what we're looking to do here is loop around one side of the boulder, then we're gonna create a cinch point in the middle, and then we're gonna loop around the other side of the boulder. And from there, we're gonna pull the strap through until it looks nice and tight. Now, we always need to adjust to make sure that this cinch point is in the middle of the boulder. If the cinch is too far to the back or too far to the front, the boulder is going to lean. We're looking to get this as level as possible.
Matthew is demonstrating that right now as he straps up this boulder.
All right, right now you can see we got our cinch point right in the middle here. We got this looped around this side of the boulder, and then we got this one looped around this side of the boulder. Now when we come up with the machine, that's going to pull it up nice and level, and that's going to make it easy to set in the pond or the waterfall.
It was just starting to rain, and we wanted to make sure that we get all the boulders moved before this downpour. We didn't know when we were going to be back here to finish this up.
My wife Gabby actually had our second son about a week ago now, so we paused the project for a week so we could have some family time. We are back here. It looks like we're gonna have some good weather for this week, which is going to be great. Let me run you through what we're gonna be working on today and what we're gonna be finishing up in the next couple days. Down here, we have our basin and our waterfalls set. We're gonna have some water coming off of this rock here, this direction. Over here, we're gonna have another little rip coming through that direction. So today we're gonna be working on coming back this way and up towards the top of that waterfall. And we're gonna have a nice gentle stream coming down this way. It's not gonna have a lot of drop. We're gonna try to create some nice curves in there to give it a nice natural feel, just all through here. And then we're gonna have a series of drops coming up at the top here that are gonna be faced this way.
So one of the biggest challenges with a project like this is that there's multiple angles that we need to make look really good with these boulders. So as that stream comes around and is twisting back towards the patio, we need to make sure that the boulders look great from the side profile and that they look great from the front profile.
We had somebody in the last video who was curious about the laser level and how it worked. We're gonna do a quick little lesson on how we use the laser level. Right over here, this is the transmitter. This is spinning and it's shooting out a laser in 360 degrees. Then over here, you can see Matthew is holding the receiver, and that is actually going to find the laser. There he goes. So that is saying, hey, the laser is hitting me right here. We're gonna get the measurement of where the laser is hitting the transmitter right now. All right, great. Now we're gonna tighten it down to the measuring stick. We now have this depth right here is going to be the water level coming into the basin. Now we can use this benchmark, and that's going to tell us where the water level is going to be in this part of the stream. As we set the next drop, we'll go ahead and adjust the receiver, know where it's at each way going up.
So for a stream like this, it's essential to know exactly where that water level is at, because as we set each of those boulders into the stream, we're going to want to compare and see where that water level is going to hit on the boulders. This is not just for aesthetics, but also to make sure that we're setting the boulders high enough that we're going to be able to pull up the edge and not get any sort of edge leaks.
We like to over dig these areas That way we have plenty of room to set our boulders and twist them and turn them to make sure they're looking really good. And then once they're all set, we'll take the liner and backfill against it so that it'll create a nice shape to the stream.
Having a large area to work with is very important, especially when you're using larger boulders, because if you have a tight space, a lot of times what ends up happening is you get this sort of bowling alley look where you have to squeeze everything in one space and you end up with this really kind of straight, unnatural look.
Come on down. Perfect. Just tell me water levels here. You probably want to bring it up about an inch and a half. Yeah, that's good. That should be like a half-inch rip.
So you can see us using the laser right there. We're seeing where that water level is going to be at that stream, and we decided that we needed to adjust that boulder up a couple inches so that it was sitting just right in that stream area. So we're going to repeat this same process with every single boulder that we're setting in the stream area. One other thing that you may be noticing is that we actually drew with some paint the shape of the water that we wanted to create here. This gives us a nice guideline and a framework so that as we set these boulders around, we can really create a nice curve into the stream bed.
And now Matthew is going around and he's starting to dig out that last 5 feet of the stream area. And we're gonna dig out to that white line, which is where the berm is going to start. This is what we're gonna use to create that berm once we have that flat section of the waterfall finished.
This is now the last part of this more flat stream area. Once we're done with this, then we're going to be able to start setting some of those large waterfall boulders to create the rapids that are going to actually start this entire project.
We've got most of the stream set right now. We got a lot of big boulders. There's a couple more hidden under the liner here. And now we've actually done the excavation for the next section. We've dug a nice flat area down in here. The waterfall is going to start where that bucket is. That bucket is about 20 inches above water level in the stream, which is what we're looking to hit with this waterfall. It's going to drop this way, and then it's going to curve that way to the rest of the stream.
Given some of the space constraints, especially with that fence right behind us, 20 inches was about as tall as we wanted to go, so that we knew we could still create that natural looking berm and not end up with something that looked like a volcano.
This should kick it hard this way, and that should kick it hard that way. Like it's gonna want to come up, and then it's gonna have to come back like that. I think it's gonna be really nice.
All the waterfall boulders are set and they're looking awesome. Now the challenge is we need to set the boulders to create this curve and bring the water back down the stream area. We want to make sure that we're still leaving a low profile look here so that it does not obstruct the view of the waterfall.
We are actually ahead of schedule. We're 2.5 days on this, and we've got all the rocks placed, and we're looking to start finishing the edging, finishing the details. We got a light here that it's gonna illuminate this drop. This is the last drop coming into the basin. Then we have another light coming in here. We have a couple waterfall uplights, one here and one here in the stream. We have 2 small drops up here. It's gonna split around this rock, so we'll have a little drop here and a little drop here, and we're gonna hit both of those with some lights. Then coming up to the top, this is our rapid section. We're gonna have a light on this big drop in here, and then we're gonna hit another light here where the water's gonna rip around. Once those are set nicely, I'm gonna take some 5 to 8 Riverstone, like some of these guys. I'm gonna hide all those lights, and then I'm gonna start foaming up this whole thing.
What we're looking to do as we finally set these lights is to make sure they're gonna actually be illuminating the drops properly, and then we're gonna try to work them in behind some of the existing boulders so that they're hidden. If we can totally conceal that source of the light, it's going to look that much better in the daytime and at nighttime. There's a lot of little details that you have to take care of when you're doing the foaming. So this little rock that I'm placing here, it's going to actually create a dam so that the water that's flowing off this boulder here is actually going to drop and then pool up and then come around here. Without that little rock right there, all the water would just go right down that crack and we wouldn't get the waterfall effect that we're actually looking for. Right now we're foaming up that pooling area, and then we have to actually go through and foam up all of these cracks. So we're going to get the foam nice and deep in these cracks. That way you're not going to actually be able to see it at all, but it's going to still divert that water on top of these boulders and give us that effect we're looking for.
So we're at the bottom of the waterfall right here. We have all this rocked in. This little section in the back is actually going to be a cool aquatic planting area. The plants are going to be able to get their feet wet, but we'll bring that up, which is going to really accentuate that curve right there. And then I'm working on finishing up all the bibs and the foaming in this stream area to keep everything where we need it to go.
Because we have such a long flat area that we're going to need a foam up here, instead of using underlayment like usual, we're going to use an actual piece of liner, cut that to shape, and then foam all the edges around that. After that, we're grading this thing out and we're putting in a really awesome landscaping package. We really love how this project turned out. Let us know in the comments what your favorite part of this build was.